Hi, and thanks for joining the on-campus interviews training. My name is Kendra. I'm part of the employer team here at Handshake, and we'll go and dive right in. So on-campus interviews are a core functionality that is primarily a university-led feature. On-campus interviews historically has allowed employers to schedule interviews on campus during or after a career fair. With the shift to virtual, we've seen less on-campus interviews happen, but it is still possible to host a virtual on-campus interview to go and align with an ongoing career fair. A few things to note before we begin. When creating an on-campus interview, you as an employer will need to link a specific job to the interview process. And what we generally recommend is to take all of your on-campus interview positions, meaning a specific job, let's say a customer success manager, and take all of the schools that you intend to host on-campus interviews at and loop them into one posting. The reason why is when the on-campus interview happens, it will automatically expire the job. So we generally recommend have one listing for all schools that you intend to have an on-campus interview for, and have a separate listing bulking together all of the virtual schools you hope to recruit from, so that there's no change in the application time for the schools that you are not having on-campus interviews at. Once you are ready to create your on-campus interview, you'll go to meetings and on-campus interviews. And if you don't have any existing, you'll say request interview schedule, or you can click here. In either case, it will take you to the same request form. Because this is a university-led product, the universities will need to approve the on-campus interview. So with that, your first step will be to select what university you are hosting the interview at. And if they have a particular career services center that you're creating this at, you'll want to list that here. You'll then go in and put in who from your company will be attending the interviews and name the interview schedule. You'll then want to put in the description of it, and you can elect if you would like to have students only apply to one job attached to the interview schedule. You'll then want to go and set your timeline up, where you'll actively go and select what day you're going to be hosting the interview. So again, this will typically happen the same day as the career fair. You'll then put in your primary request date, and you can also put in an alternate if there's one that you're open to changing. Some universities may request a particular charge for the room or rooms that you are using if it's a physical type of interview. And you'll just put in details about what you would like to use the room for. Once you've selected your date, you'll have a few different options to choose from in what type of timeline and schedule you have. There are a few different options. The ones that you'll see the most are room only and pre-select to alternate. Room only is where you only have a specific space and there's not necessarily a full schedule that is applied with it. So think of this as I'm just booking a room and I'm going to have some sort of alternative option for actually mapping out the day of schedule. This will allow students just to go and apply for the position, and then you'll be reaching out to them to let each student know you would like them to join for the interview. Pre-select to alternate is one of the more commonly used functions if you would like to have the university help you schedule out the interview process itself. What this will do is allow you to pick a time in which you will rank all of the applicants as either a primary candidate or an alternate candidate. What that means is that candidates will have the option of starting to apply at the apply start date, and they will have an end period in which they must apply by in order to qualify for the on-campus interview. There's usually about a week between the end of an apply and your primary sign-up start, meaning that as an employer, you must review every applicant between November 3rd and November 9th and mark them as either a primary candidate or an alternate candidate. Once you have designated primary and alternate candidates, the platform will automatically send out invitations to your primary candidates starting on the 9th. And if all of your spots have been filled, your alternate candidates will not receive an invitation to the interview. However, if you don't fill up all of the spots based on this primary group, a wave of invitations will go out to your alternate candidates to fill the remaining spots in your on-campus interview. There will then be a period in which you can no longer sign up for slots. If you ever need to make changes to these timelines, reach out to the university directly. And you'll then have options for what type of scheduled interviews you would like. They can either be 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40, 60, or you can do a half day and so forth. So typically, you'll see someone do something like a full day schedule with 30 minutes. It will showcase the number of slots as well as when you receive breaks, which the university will dictate. From there, you'll select what jobs are attached to this interview. If you need to get your jobs approved, you can always add this later. But usually we'll recommend just selecting an existing job. And again, you can add in others if needed. You'll then go and review all of the logistics here. And again, be sure to confirm all of the details. If you need to make changes as an employer to an on-campus interview, you almost always need to reach out to the university themselves and coordinate those changes. But once you are complete with creating everything, you'll go and request this, and the university will then be able to go and approve or decline it. You can always communicate with the university in the comments box or reach out to them directly. Once you have applicants available, you'll go to Applicants for your partner to go and select them as either primary or alternate. And they will start to populate here, similar to the RSVP tabs and other applicant fields that you've seen in your job listings. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to your team. And thanks for joining for the training today.